Anything and everything is just blamed out to get you. Maybe because of your rampant kleptomania. See Garrett's principle.
There might be some red orbs inside that empty suit of armor.
Yes.
I think the biggest offender is, well, it's actually a robot, but in Final Fantasy VII, when you're going through the Sector 5 slums for the first time, trying to get to Eris's house, one of the enemies is reminiscent of a small house.
Yes, indeed. The Hell House, that's right. Although when it does its little jumping suicide explosion attack, you actually do see that it is a pretty scary monster. It just has a house on top of it for some retarded reason.
If only it didn't transform, it would win my vote as the most what the fuck boss in Final Fantasy history.
Well, it's not a boss. It's just a regular unusually
enemy.
Strong enemy at the time. Yes. All right, 75. Law of numbers. There will be several items or effects which depend on the numerical value of your hit points, level, etc. Lucky 7, anyone. Which makes no sense unless the characters can see all the numbers in their world and find it perfectly normal that a spell only works on a monster whose level is a multiple of 5.
Level 5 death, Ultima weapon. From 7.
Yes. The demi spell, which deals exactly a quarter of the remaining health and damage.
How much life force does this guy left? Use demi.
Okay, next, and you did. It didn't cut you off that time, Ryan. I'm surprised. Or is it your turn,
It's
Johnny?
Johnny's turn.
Okay, that's why I
turn.
didn't cut Ryan. That's why I didn't cut Ryan off.
Number 76. Magical the Equality Theorem. In the course of your travels, you may find useful sounding spells such as Petrify, Silence, and Instant Death. However, you will end up never using these spells in combat because A. All ordinary enemies can be killed with a few normal attacks, making fantasy attacks unnecessary. B. All bosses and other stronger than average monsters are immune to these effects, so there's no point in using them for long fights where they actually come in handy. And C. The spells usually don't work anyway. Final Fantasy VII is the biggest offender of this.
Well, I find that rule somewhat true in every Final Fantasy game. Actually, I rarely use the status effect spells, and I come to that, I rarely use actual magic in Final Fantasy VIII to begin with, because it's more useful as just augmenting your stats so that you can attack things with your swords and stuff.
In Final Fantasy IV, a lot of the status-inducing spells are pretty damn useless, but they really do come in handy in the DS remake, especially Slow. And,
I will say this about 12. I do use status effects in that game, but only because they make the very hectic battle system a lot easier to handle in certain situations. I have even used Berserk once, which is surprising, as I've never used Berserk on any enemy in any other Final Fantasy game. Ever.
Number 77. The Magical Inequality Corollary. When the enemy...
Nuclear!
Corollary. When the enemy uses Petrify, Silence, and Instant Death, etc. spells on you, they'll be effective 100% of the time. Or as I like to call it, the critical hit rule in Pokemon.
Yes, indeed. Number 78 is Pretty Line Syndrome, or Crash Bandicoot, the RPG. Seen in most modern RPGs, the key to completing your quest is to walk forward in a straight line for 50 hours, stopping along the way to look at, kill, and or have meaningful conversations with various pretty things. Final Fantasy X in a fucking nutshell.
Yeah. And it's definitely, unless I'm missing something, 10 is definitely the most linear of Final Fantasies.
Well, yeah. Yes, it is.
Super Paper Mario.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Super Paper Mario is a 2D game. Of course you're walking a straight line.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought it up.
Well, it's a 2D game. What did you expect?
That's why I brought it up.
Number 79, Xenobiologically rule. You take that, Ryan.
Xenobiology.
Rule. The predators
Predator.
I've completely lost track.
I'm taking this over. I'm taking this over.
Please.
Xeno 79 Xenobiology rule. The predatory species of the world will include representatives of all of the following: giant spiders, giant scorpions, giant snakes, giant beetles, wolves, squid, fish that float in midair, gargoyles, golems, carnivorous plants, chimeras, griffins, cockatrices, hydras, minotaurs, burrowing things with big claws, things that can paralyze you, things that can put you to sleep, things that can petrify you, at least 20 different creatures with poisonous tentacles, and dragons. Always dragons.
The Professor and Maria.
Okay, now you can take number 80. I assume you can pronounce friendly fire principle.
Go to hell. Number 80. Friendly Fire Principle, or Final Fantasy Tactics Rule. Any attack that can target both allies and enemies will hit half of your allies and none of your enemies.
Number 81. Dungeon Design 101. There's always goodies hidden behind the waterfall.
True that.
I remember in God of War 2, there's this one room where there's like 3 waterfalls in like this fountain area. I knew there was something behind one of the waterfalls. I didn't even have to, guess. It's like, there's something behind this waterfall. Now I just have to choose which one to look behind first.
Take it away, Johnny.
Number 82. Dungeon Design. Fuck. Damn it, Solaris! Number 82. Dungeon Design 102. When you are confronted by 2 doors, the closer one will be locked, and its key will be hidden behind the farther away one.
Of course.
Also known as the ad tedium rule.
You pretty much.
Indeed. 83. Dungeon Design 103, or Wallpaper Warning. Your progress through a dungeon will be indicated by a sudden change in decor, different wall color, different torches on the wall, etc.
Also known as the Golden Axe rule, where all the enemies just change color.
Indeed, yes. Ryan, it's your turn.
Number 84, Dungeon Design at 201, or the interior decorators anticipated your out-of-body experience. Most dungeons will include hidden, quote-unquote, passages which are nearly impossible to see from a bird's eye view, yet would be blaringly obvious from the party's perspective.
Indeed, yes. Next.
Number 85. Dungeon Design 301. All puzzles in an RPG dungeon can be sorted into one of the following types. 1. Finding some small item and sticking it into a slot. 2. Pushing blocks, rocks, or statues onto switches. 3. Pulling switches or levers to open and close doors. 4. Learning the correct order position of a group of objects. 5. Entering a certain combination of doors. 6. Something involving a clock or elevator. Or 7. Something that is unsolvable because of a vital clue and the dialogue was mistranslated out of Japanese.
I think Dungeon Design 301 is the core philosophy of the Resident Evil series.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially in 4 with the what's the girl's name?
4 had puzzles.
Yeah, the whole bring her around and then open the door and so on and so forth.
Oh yes. Well, yeah. I forgot about that. It was just so chock full of action shooter gameplay that the puzzles seemed so minor by comparison. 86. Wait, that was a load-bearing boss. Defeating a dungeon's boss will frequently cause the dungeon to collapse, which is nonsensical but does make for thrilling escape scenes. How many times has this happened to you guys?
Plenty.
Yeah, too many to count.
Indeed. Next.
Johnny?
No, that's you.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I want the MP3 file of this when it's finished.
Alright.
Same here.
Number 87. Supply and demand axiom. Killing a powerful enemy will usually yield an item or weapon that would have been extremely useful had you gotten it before killing that enemy.